I got my first bass for Christmas when I was 13 years old, 1973, which means that I've been playing bass for 43 years. I'm starting to get better though. And I started out playing upright bass in a school big band, reading changes and walking. And I didn't really start playing in rock bands until I moved to Vermont, which is a small state out in the woods. And then, so when I was 18, I went to the Berklee College of Music, and it was great because I came from this little town, and I was the only bass player around. And I heard about this guitar player at Berklee that was supposed to be really good. And I heard that every time he played, he would blow up his amplifier. And I was 18 years old, and I thought, that's so cool. So I found out where this guy was playing, and there was a big crowd around, and I said, who is that guy? And they said, well, that is Steve Vai. A gig. And I was living in LA, and I auditioned for all these different pop bands, like Cher. And I didn't get any of these gigs. So I figured out I had to find another way to make a career in music. So I got a hold of the people at Relativity Records who put out Flexible. And they came to see me play, and they said, and you put out a record for hardly any money. And I said, yes. So they gave me $3,000 to do this record. My first record, Radio Free Album. And I quickly ran out of money. So I had this song that I'd written for a trumpet, but I didn't have the money to pay the trumpet player. I didn't have the money in the bank. So I called up Relativity Records, and I told them that I'm out of money, but that I needed someone to play a solo on my record. And they told me they just signed a new guitar player who was a friend of Steve Vai's. And he was doing a record, and if I flew to San Francisco and played on his record, he'd play on my record. Name. And they said, well, his name is Joe Satriani. So I met Joe because I had no money. So next time you're feeling bad, just remember you never know what can happen. You know, like I said, I've been playing bass for 43 years. And the electric bass was invented like 66 years ago. And it's changed so much in my lifetime. Now, when I grew up, the way you played bass was this. Right? That was it. And I remember the first time, you're not going to believe this, but I was sitting on my couch watching TV, and I had to get up and walk to the TV and turn a dial to change the channel, right? And on one channel, James Brown was playing, and the bass player was doing this thing. I don't know what it was, but it sounded like a drum, it sounded like bass. I'd never seen it. So I lived in a small town, and I drove to the closest music store, and I took a bass off the wall, and I went, and the guy literally had me kicked out of the bass shop and accused me of trying to break his bass, right? And then I heard Chris Squire go, and I said, wait, what are those? Those aren't notes. What are harmonics? People don't play harmonics on the bass, right? It doesn't happen. And then my oldest brother was always listening to Bitches Brew and Sun Ra and Pink Floyd, and then he put on this record by Herbie Hancock, and the bass player went, wait a minute, you don't play two notes on the bass at the same time. That's not how you play bass, right? You don't, right? And then I went to Berklee College of Music, and I was playing with Steve Vai, and that's back when Van Halen was doing Eruption, right? But if you slow it down, well, look at that. Instead of taking two hands to play one note, one to fret it, and one to pluck it, if you push down on it, it'll play by itself, which leaves your other hand to go. Wow, amazing, right? I didn't invent tapping, but I was there when it was born and was one of the first to do that. But the point of this whole stupid story was that just in like one generation, when I played bass, no one did that, right? And now, I remember Victor Wooten coming to see me at a bass clinic when he was 10 years old, right? So this whole generation of bass players think that playing bass is... which is not, really. It's because here's the cool thing about bass. I'll tell you why, and I hope my English is good, why the bass is the most important band of the instrument. Because the bass is what unites harmony and rhythm, right? What do people dance to? Right? You play that and you know exactly what, you can hear everything else. And if you ever get paid to play this, then you win. Right? But the most important thing the bass does is establishes the tonality. If you're playing a blues, I can go to the 4 chord anytime I want. And it sounds to your ear like the whole song goes to the 4. And everyone else is wrong, right? Because if you ask your guitar player to play 3 notes, C, E, and G, now if I play a C, it's a major chord, and everyone's happy. Now if they play the same 3 notes, and I move my hand an inch and play an A, it's an A minor chord. So I have the power in this finger, right, by sliding it like an inch to decide if a room people are happy or sad. That's right. I mean, that's pretty powerful, right? I like that power. I do.
How exactly do you do the sliding harmonics? That's a big issue sometimes.
It is. It's obviously easier on a fretless bass.
Yep.
The great bass player Percy Jones from Brand Axis are the first guy that I saw do that. What you want to do is, say you're hitting your G and you want to slide it down to the E. You have to make it so you don't press it all the way down until you hit that E. right? If you hit the harmonic and push it down and slide it down, you're sliding the fundamental note. So you sort of have to make an arc. The real answer is practice. If you start by sliding a half step or something, and again, it's sort of like I said, aiming to have the string pressed fully down at the note you're aiming for. And also, my words of wisdom for all musicians is the good news is that you can learn to do anything, right? The bad news is that it takes repetition, patience, and the passage of time. That's it. The hard thing with bass really is getting the notes. Guys, I'm so sorry, this has never happened before. I swear. Is getting the notes you're not playing to shut up, right? And that's why so many people, you're muting with your other hands, and that's really, because otherwise it's going to sound, trying to get the clarity. There's a great young bass player named Bubby Lewis. Have any of you guys heard of him? He plays with Snoop Dogg and Lupe Fiasco. Go home and Google him, he's badass. I was working at a music school in LA, and I had him for a clinic, and I asked him how he did his muting technique, and he said, I didn't even know I was muting. Right, so I guess I use my fingernail. And then right there, I'm sort of using my thumb to keep the other notes quieter. And so it is a bit of the nail, but it just takes, again, practice. Do anyone know who Rhonda Smith is? Rhonda Smith, beautiful female bass player from Montreal, played with Prince and Jeff Beck. So she had this really interesting, because it's all about sound, really. I mean, what gets forgotten and all this stuff is that it's music and it should sound good. Every note. So when I have students come in, the first thing I'll generally do is say, play me a G major scale. And they'll go, right? I'm like, what? That sounds awful. What sounds good is this. Doesn't that sound nice? Every note is even and full, and when I'm playing, I'm hearing this. Right? I'm hearing the rhythm in my head. Almost heard. Yeah, that's more like next. Right? So slowing it down. The sound, so Rhonda Smith was telling me, against all technique, that when she played with Prince, he insisted that she play octave slaps like Larry Graham, which is using your thumb to bar the E note. This is some deep bass knowledge now. Because this, and you tell me if you don't hear the sound. Maybe I'm a tweaker. Maybe only I can hear the difference. But there is a difference. Sure.
When you get an idea, it starts. You try to write it down, and so on. When it stops, when you can't finish a song, what do you do? Like, how do you finish a song if suddenly it just goes?
Well, like I try to demonstrate with the Windsor Muse. For me, when a song has a name, I sort of know what the song's about. Most of the songs I write are about books I've read, or places I've traveled to, or people I've met, or experiences. So for me, once I know what the song's about, like if it's supposed to be ironic, or humorous, or serious, or depressing, or whimsical, right, or nostalgic, right. Once you sort of have a name. When I get stuck, though, I'll try writing a melody on a different instrument, like on the piano, on a piccolo bass. One of my stupid techniques is if I can't find the B section, I'll deliberately write as many bad B sections as I can to sort of eliminate those out of all the possible B sections in the universe. And then I just wait for inspiration to hit me. I'm sort of skipping ahead before someone asks me what would my advice to young musicians, not just bass players, would be to listen to every kind of music. You know, don't limit yourself. You know, say I'm a death metal fan. I couldn't be in a melodic death metal band, right? And the most important thing is to go out and play music, right? Join there is no perfect gig. You know, go join a band that plays traditional Bulgarian music, join a jazz band, join a punk band, play with a neurotic female singer, you know. Because don't be a snob about it, right? Because the point of music, the fun part, is being on stage with other musicians. Like last night, we were all tired and sick and thought we were going to die. And we had the best time, you know, interacting off each other and getting the crowd to enjoy it. And even when I was, you know, so after this gig, I go home and I go see my mom in Seattle for a couple days. And then I fly to Buenos Aires to play at the River Plate Stadium in front of like 70,000 people with this pop band that hired me to play 2 songs on their record. And then I go back to San Francisco, and I'm going to put on a tuxedo and play jazz Christmas songs in a department store with my friends, right? Because it's all just music, right? Some gigs pay more and are in front of more people, but you know, it's really just about playing music. So my main advice, and if you're out playing music, you're going to meet other musicians that are working, and you're going to meet people that hire bands, right? And you're just going to be in the thing there, right? Capiche?
Yeah.
All right, those are my words of wisdom.